Hi guys, Luke here again. What you're going to see in this next video, we're catching up with Jesse a few weeks after we first saw him in the clinic, and we gave him a little run scribe to take home and start using in his natural running environment. We didn't see a huge amount of changes that we could make during the clinic with Jesse because he's been running a long time and he's a pretty good runner. So that little run scribe has gone away with him and has given me a lot of data that I've been able to use back in the clinic. And today we're going to catch up, make sure everything's going well, and make sure that none of the changes that we've discussed with him and implemented with him have caused any problems.
Okay, Jesse, so it's been about 2 weeks since I saw you in the clinic. I guess first things, how things been going? Made a couple of changes to a few things. Have you had any troubles or problems?
No, everything's been going quite well lately. Just been working on increasing that cadence up. Back from that 160, worked up to 175 at the moment. Just keep progressing to that 180.
Great. I noticed I jumped online and had a look at some of the info from your run scribe stuff, and that was one thing I could definitely see. So your cadence has been consistently up above that 170, which is good. One of the other things that we can see with the run scribe stuff is that your stride. So we talked about your stride being a little bit, you are overstriding a little bit. One thing I've been able to see on the run scribe info as well, so your stride length has reduced a little bit as well. So by increasing that cadence, we've been able to reduce your stride length a little bit. I guess that's in the field and going out and doing a run, which everyone loves doing. What about some of the stuff that we talked about at home? So some of
some of that core work. So I've been doing that, a bit of yoga as well, just working on increasing that core strength. And finding that at the moment it's gone pretty well.
Have you noticed any improvements in some of that core? I guess one of the things that we noticed when we started, your normal core stuff or the everyday person core stuff was great. You sort of could pass that with flying colours, but once we started to ramp it up to someone that's competing at your level, that should have that really strong core and the more advanced tests, we found you struggled on a few of them. Have you found any of those tests a little bit easier, or are they still a little bit?
Yeah, definitely getting a little bit easier, and just noticing it through the day, and when I'm running as well, it's keeping stronger through the torso. Shoulders aren't rocking back and forth as much as what they had previously been doing. Good. So yeah, definitely noticing the little improvements throughout.
Yeah, perfect. So it's great that we've been able to catch up again. I guess, give you a bit of an insight of why we like getting you back in. We always try and have a review, generally around that 3 or 4 week mark to touch base and see what sort of results you've been getting. One of the important things to understand with changing anything, whether that be the way that you walk, whether that be the way that you're running, changing exercise at the gym, all those sorts of things, our body doesn't like change. Especially, the older we get, and the older the athlete, the less inclined it is to adapt to that change. Being young, being healthy and being fit, you tend to adapt to that change pretty quickly, which we've seen. There haven't been a huge amount of problems. But yeah, we need to address any sort of issue. So I guess you said some of the issues that you noticed or felt was maybe a little bit of a tightening in the calf muscle group. I noticed you've been wearing you said you've been wearing the calf sock as a compression, and that's great. One of the great things you can do out on the trail or out on the road. Some of the other things we can look at doing is maybe just some strengthening for your calves. Now, you don't necessarily have to get into a gym or get onto a big squat rack or anything like that to worry about strengthening your calf. Some of the best strengthening exercises you can do are what we call your functional exercises. So very similar exercises to what you'd be doing when you're actually running. So one of the easiest ones is your simple heel raises. Now, because you are performing at a higher level, we take, I guess, as granted that your calves are pretty strong anyway. So we'd probably start you off at a more advanced calf strengthening exercise. Absolutely. To do that, we'd get you generally on one foot. Now, ideally, you'd want to do this in bare feet. By taking away the shoes, you're getting your muscles to work that a little bit harder. So take your shoes off, get you onto that 1 foot, and we're going to do what we call a 3D calf raise. So we'd get you up onto your tiptoes, basically trying to path or trying to think about going up onto your tiptoes through that big toe. Okay. Rolling out the pressure onto the outside border of your foot and then coming down nice and slowly. Now, if you find that a little bit difficult progressing to the one leg straight away, you can start off by doing that with 2 feet. So coming up and doing it on both feet, rolling out to the outside and coming down. I'd like you to see you doing about 10 of those, and really, it's not a matter of how quickly you can punch those 10 out. It's more so a matter of slow, controlled exercises. Another really good one, skipping.
Yeah, for sure.
So skipping up on your toes. Again, it's really, reenacts that force and that impact type activity that you're going to be getting when you're out running. But again, trying to think about up onto the toes. None of this sort of heavy hitting on the ground.
Just
And
keep them light.
Keep light. That's one of the big things. Is try and remember. Have a listen to yourself hitting the ground when you're skipping. And try and really minimise the sound that you're making when you are skipping. I want to catch up again in about 3 to 4 weeks time again.
Yep,
okay,
absolutely.
so a lot of these changes are progressive. Like I said initially when we made those first changes, this is our aim now. So you're sitting at about 170 for your cadence level. Maybe could even increase that now to about 175 given the fact you haven't had any major issues. I really want you for the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Engage that core.
Yeah. Try and work on some of the strengthening stuff. I notice you're in a new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Haven't given those a run yet.
No, it'll be the first run tonight with them, but looking forward to it.
Great. One other thing while I remember we did, we had a little raise.
Yeah, we added that little inner sole.
How have you found that? Any issues with that?
No, I've been finding it's working really well actually. Did the first run last night, accidentally took it out, forgot to put it back in, and did notice that the outside of my foot was getting a little bit sore just without it in there.
I guess that's another thing I've noticed with the looking through that information that the run scribe gives us. The positioning now between your left foot and right foot is a lot more equal, just with that simple sort of the raise through there.
Definitely not noticing as much of that roll in from the right foot.
Yeah, great. So I guess you're about to go for a run now.
Yep, absolutely.
Hit the roads. I want you to try and concentrate on some of those things I've talked about. Really, have a look around. Obviously it's dark, it's not as much to look around. You want to make sure you don't get hit by cars and things like that. But if you can really spend some time during the run, I guess being self-aware. A lot of the time we go out for a run and we try and forget about everything. I want you to spend this run just thinking about some of the things that we've talked about and integrating that into the run. And when you're starting to feel fatigued, that's the time that you really need to think about that.
Yeah,
because
really
that's
focusing
exactly. So the fatigue, and when the fatigue sets in and you're starting to get tired, that's when your form shouldn't be changing. You should be really concentrating on that form, because most commonly that's when bad form starts to creep in. And more importantly with an athlete. An athlete can jump on a treadmill and show me the way that they run, and they can generally fudge or cover a lot of the problems that they might start to experience when their heart rate's 180 beats a minute and they're trying to catch that by 10 meters in front. So make sure you have a hard run, and I want you to get to that fatigue level somewhere along the run tonight. When you hit that fatigue level, I want you then to switch your brain on and think about all those things that we've talked about.